Now, one of the things about power of words to understand is the process of buying. How do people make decisions when they buy products, when they buy solutions? And the key phrase is that people buy with emotion and justify with logic. Okay, let me say that again. People buy with emotion and justify with logic. Now, some of you are wondering, what does that actually mean? Let me give you an example. Let's say that you were going out to buy a new outfit. So an outfit for the ladies, a suit for the men. And when you go to the stores, you have a budget of, let's say, $200 in mind. The number is irrelevant. I'm just saying $200. But when you go to the store, do you go to the aisle of $200 suits? Or do you go walking around to see what else might be? Okay, we all do that. We go walking around to see what else might be there. And if you go to an aisle of 300 suits or $400 suits, or maybe even a $500 suit and your budget was $200, and you take it off and you hold it up, maybe you try it on, and you say, wow, that looks smart. You look in the mirror and you say, that looks smart. I'm going to buy that. And the suit is $500. What happens to your budget? It's just gone. It's just gone. Why? Because the emotion of liking something is much more powerful than logic. Okay? Have you ever done that? You're human beings. That's what we do. Okay? We've all done that. We've all gone to a store and spent more money than we intended. My friends, I did that with a car. I bought a BMW 7 Series and paid 50% more than my budget. Because when I went to see the car I wanted to see, there was another one next to it that I liked. I really, really liked, and my budget went out the window, and I bought that one. Now, let me give you some context. I don't drive. My car sits at the front of my house. It does 2,000 miles a year, because I go to the office by train every day and back. But the power of emotion is so ridiculous, it makes us do things that make no logical sense. Seriously, if you saw the logbook of my car, 2,000 miles a year, and that's maximum. So I did that with a car. What do you think happens in the emotion of buying a life insurance policy? When you know that the prospect can afford the premium, and he says, I cannot afford this, what's he really saying to you is that I don't have enough emotional attachment to what it is that you're telling me. Because if there's enough emotional attachment, we already agreed, the money will appear. Does that make sense? So you need to understand the power of words. That when somebody says, I can't afford, but you know they can, what they're really saying is, help me to get some emotional attachment to this. Go back to the beginning of the conversation and make the client feel that this is the most important purchase he'll make this year. Okay? Emotion drives the sales. Now, I want you to remember that, because we're going to use this as an exercise very shortly. I told you I drive a BMW. I think a representative of BMW came to one of my presentations. Because in the last few years, BMW have changed their advertising from traditional car advertising, which used to talk about speed, comfort, performance, economy, safety, all of those kind of features, to emotional words. BMW now say, we don't just make cars, we make joy. Joy is an emotional word. And their whole advertising is about the joy of driving a BMW. Yeah, don't you get joy when you actually get in your car? I would get more joy if I drove it more, but I don't drive it enough. But here's the thing that was said in that advert. I don't know if you heard it, but this is a key sentence. That BMW said, we realized a long time ago that what you make people feel is just as important as what you make. Do you think that you could apply that sentence to our business? Absolutely. It's about how we make people feel is way more important than the products that we have. That is what that is saying. We need to understand that. It's key to being successful, to reaching top of the table. Now, I'm going to share an exercise with you. In fact, you're going to share it with me. Because I'm going to now test your ability to create emotion by using just words. That's all we have the ability. We don't have a machine gun to point at somebody to create emotion. We have words. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to carry out an exercise that I call the elevator conversation. I'm going to get you to answer the what do you do question in an unusual, creative, and imaginative way. So this is how we're going to do this. I'm going to ask you to take a partner, someone sitting next to you. If there's in group of 3, turn around, talk to somebody in front or behind you. Take a partner in just a moment. And here's the setup. One of you is going to be a prospect, and one of you is going to be the advisor. So just choose who goes first. And I'll give you 1 minute, and after 1 minute, we'll change around, and the other person becomes the advisor or prospect. But here's the setup. You are both at the ground floor of a 100-story hotel. And you both step in the elevator, which is a very slow elevator. And instead of looking at the numbers going up, which we all do, the prospect says to the advisor the dreaded words, "What do? There is nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. This is a slow elevator. The prospect's room is on the 50th floor, and as the advisor, your room is on the 100th floor. It takes a minute to get up to the 50th floor. Oh no, it takes 30 seconds to there and another 30 seconds to the 100th. So you have 1 minute. You have 1 minute to capture the imagination of your prospect by using just words, such that as a prospect, you don't want to feel that you want to get off at your 50th floor because this is so interesting and unusual, you want to carry on up because you want to hear it all. In fact, when you're the advisor talking to your prospect, I want you to get them so excited that when they get to the 100th floor, they want to walk to the bedroom with you. Not too excited. But you want to get them so enamored by what it is that you're saying, they want to hear it all. Does that make sense? Now, I got to tell you something. I am terrified. Shh. I am terrified because I have done this exercise with tens, if not 100,000 people around the world. And one time I was doing this and I was walking around the room and there was a man talking to a woman and the woman said to the man, "So what do you do?" And he said, "Come up to my room and I'll show you." I hope there were no conversations like that going on. I want to come back here one day. Be honest with yourself. And that's part of the problem is being a successful advisor. To be successful, we need to look at what we say and how we say it and the impact it makes. And we don't do it often enough. The power of words is so important that we should think about every word we use and why we use it. Because it has the power to influence. Would you like to know how I would answer that question? Yes. Oh, fantastic. Good response this time. Thank you. This is now one huge elevator. You are one huge collective prospect. And so altogether, the loudest voices that you could do, you are going to ask me the dreaded question, and I'm going to answer it for you. But when I answer it, I'm going to give you a sentence and stop. Because what I want to do is check in with you about the words I'm using and how they make you feel. Okay? Now, here's something. Do not try to write this down. Okay? You will not be able to keep up with me. Okay? Instead, I want you to listen and concentrate on what's being said. Because I want you to really take part and listen and enjoy rather than try and keep up. It won't happen if you don't do that. Okay? So, let's do this. We're going to do it several times over. Pause to consider for effect. Thank you for asking. Pause. Did anybody here, when you were asked a question, "What do you do?" say, "Thank you for asking"? Yes, because you heard it before. Is it difficult to say thank you for asking? How do you feel? Remember, it's about feelings. How do you feel when I say thank you for asking? You feel good. You can't feel bad. And because it's different, the power of words is to be different, already a prospect will be thinking, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that." And you've taken control of the conversation just by saying something that changes the response and the reaction. The power of words. So simple. Could you say, "Thank you for asking"? Okay, let's do it once more, and we'll pause again. Okay, all together. Well, thank you for asking. You see, I love what I do. I get really excited by what I do because I have the best job in the world. Pause. How many people said they have the best job in the world? Do you have the best job in the world? Yes. So why not tell people? This is so crazy. Do you love what you do? Why not tell people? Do you get excited by what you do? Tell people. You see, most people, when they ask the question, what do you do? The person says, I regret what I do. I wish I did something else. So if they meet somebody who loves what they do, they want to know more. Could you say, I love what I do? Let me hear you say it. Tell people. Tell people, because they don't hear it. And when you say it, they're going to say, that's interesting. Tell me more. Easy, yes? Okay, let's do it once more, and then we'll pause again. Okay, so, one more? Well, thank you for asking. You see, I love what I do. I get excited by what I do because I have the best job in the world. You see, I'm a financial architect. Pause. Let me tell you right now, this second, my second career is as a mind reader. Because I know right now that in your mind, you are thinking, what does that mean? And that's the power of words. Through the power of words, we take control of conversations. We become the owner of the conversation. We influence and direct where that conversation goes. Does that make sense? Just by words. I didn't use anything else. I used energy, passion, and words. And I want you to consider, based upon the words I use and how I use them, how do I make you feel? Okay, last time. Thank you for asking. You see, I love what I do. I get excited by what I do because I have the best job in the world. You see, I'm a financial architect. As a financial architect, what I do for my clients is that I design and create their future financial home. This financial home represents their future dreams, their future aspirations. Maybe particular rooms represent a particular goal or objective. But it's only when I've designed somebody's financial home that I then go looking for the right financial furniture to furnish it with. And yet when I meet people for the first time, I find they have a briefcase full of financial furniture with no strategy, no coherency, which is bizarre. You wouldn't buy furniture before you bought a house, but people do it with financial furniture. So I take a look at the financial furniture you have, see if it fits in the financial home that we've designed together, because you wouldn't necessarily put antique furniture in a modern contemporary home, would you? And if that financial furniture is out of date, we need to replace it and get a better one. And just like a house needs good maintenance to keep it in good order, I'm your maintenance engineer to redesign your house when it's needed and refurnish it when required. Tell me, has anybody designed your financial home for you yet? Okay, well, this elevator, this party is not the right time to continue that conversation, but if I can have your business card and your permission to call you in the next 2 days, perhaps we should get together and explore some ideas. First meeting's at my expense.